Hello, everyone. Welcome back to finally yet another of our Wellness Wednesday calls. I'm super excited about this Wellness Wednesday, even more so than usual. I'm always super excited about these, but we've missed a couple weeks before this, and now we're back with a really exciting topic. We're going to be talking about veganism and thriving as living a long-term vegan lifestyle. Super excited to be joined by my co-host, Samantha, of course. She has been vegan for quite a few years now. I actually don't know the exact amount of time. And as well as Kevin, who has also been vegan for a very long time, which is just awesome. I actually lived with Kevin in a vegan community. So super excited for them to get to share their stories, but I'm going to start us off with kind of my story into veganism, because I have been vegan for, oh wait, I have to do the math. 7 years now, going on 8 actually. And before that, I was vegetarian for 5 years. And, this has been a really big part of my life for the majority of my life. I went vegetarian at 10 years old, actually, and vegan at 15. And, when I first learned about even the concept of like not eating meat or not consuming dairy or animal products, I was kind of excited about that. I really kind of immediately made the connection of, I had a pet dog at that time. And I made the connection that, if I'm not going to be eating this, pet dog or, a pet cat or anything like that, why would I be eating these other animals that are, some of them like pigs are highly intelligent animals and, just really beautiful creatures and beings. And, I just, made that connection really early on, and that kind of deepened, and I became really passionate about it. And, a lot of it was just taking in a lot of knowledge about the animal agriculture industry and how horrible it is, how horrible animals get treated, especially in the very big corporations where there is just this mass production of these animals and of meats and dairy and eggs. And, it started for me with just meat. And, I didn't really understand, sorry, excuse me. I didn't really understand, the correlation, how much harm is actually in the dairy industry and the egg industry as well. So it started with meat for me, and I made that transition, and it was really amazing. I wasn't the healthiest vegetarian, but I did really enjoy it. And I actually was able to help a couple other people go vegetarian as well, and kind of open their eyes to, this concept of even not eating meat from a very young age. And so when I went vegan at 15, that was really exciting for me. At that point, I was completely ready. Both times I kind of just dove head in, and, it was made this decision that day and never went back. Going vegan, at that time, I was actually in foster care as well. And so I was already kind of at a dark place, kind of struggling. And, I had to do a lot of it for myself. Like, I did a lot of learning for myself. I made all of my own meals. I did all of the research for myself, found out that about B12, that, what vegans can be lacking, and, how important it is. And a lot of it was kind of overwhelming. Like, how am I going to afford these vitamins? How am I going to afford these supplements? Like, am I going to be able to thrive with this lifestyle? Am I going to be deficient in anything? But, I pushed forward and, made the decision, got really strong with my why and why I was making this decision to go vegan. Because in that time, it wasn't about myself. It was primarily for the animals, for the planet. It was all about my morals. But, it went really well. And, when I went vegan, I didn't notice too much of a change when I went vegetarian, but when I did go vegan, I noticed a pretty big change. Because like I said, I was in foster care and kind of struggling with my mental health, depression, anxiety. And I did notice a change in that. It started to help a little bit. I felt lighter the first few months and was just feeling really good. I definitely noticed a shift. But even at that time, I didn't know how important your diet and lifestyle was to mental health. I was a little naive. But that's kind of when I started noticing those changes. And I've been vegan ever since then. I'm 22 now. And it's just been really amazing it's been a really great outlet for me to be continuing to learn about health, mental health, the animal agriculture industry, so many different things. And, it actually helped bring the Purium into my life too. I was actually thinking about moving to a vegan community, like I mentioned with Kevin and many other people in Belize. And one of my good friends, Alice, was actually going to be moving to Belize too. And, I was still kind of struggling. My mental health has been a struggle for a long time, but she was thriving. Like, she was living her best life, amazing, vegan activist. Like, she was so cool. I was all over it. And but yeah, she was living this really healthy lifestyle too, which I really caught my attention. And because yeah, I was still, I guess, confused about some supplements, wondering if I was still lacking anything. So I wasn't really one to go to the doctor that often. And yeah, she kind of opened this massive door, this like pathway to health and wellness and nutrition. And it was really amazing and exciting. And, with that, my mental health got so much better. My skin got even better, which I already had pretty amazing skin from being vegan. But yeah, so many things changed. I was getting amazing sleep. I had kind of an ego about it too. I was like, I'm vegan, I'm super healthy. I'm at the top of my health. I was a little wary of it at first, but it was amazing. And I'm so happy that I said yes and was open to learning about this high quality nutrition that we're all intaking now. And it's amazing to add this into my lifestyle and to, just make it part of my vegan lifestyle and be able to share this with people. And it's actually helped people to go vegan and transition to more alkaline lifestyle too, which is really cool. But this is about veganism and thriving long-term. And this has really been able to help me thrive, especially in these last couple of years since I've incorporated this nutrition into my life. But if you are thinking about going vegan, you're not vegan yet, I think a really important little tip that I can give you is to really strengthen and really get focused on your why, on why you're making this transition. If it is for your health, if it is for the animals, honestly, I think it should be about both because they're both really important. But yeah, just really get focused on why you're doing this, why you're making this transition for yourself, for the planet, for the animals, even for your family, for your friends, and what kind of a difference it's going to make in your life, because I guarantee you it will make a difference in your life. But yeah, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Samantha. She has a really powerful story. I'm super excited to hear hers. And yeah, just thank you guys so much. Super grateful to be here.
Amazing. I feel like every time you tell your story, I learn something new. I think it's so cool you went vegan and even vegetarian at such a young age. I've always resonated with, before I knew what vegan was, vegetarianism. As a kid, I tried to go multiple times, had no support from my family. And so it would always take like that one meal my mom made for me to just like, okay, I guess I'm going to just keep doing this because that's what she's feeding me and this is good. I know, I recognize it. But my eating definitely was nowhere near healthy when I was younger, and that caught up to me when I was in my late 20s. And I was working a very physical job, very long hours, to the point where I was pretty much just like dead to the world for my days off. I couldn't enjoy my life at all. It was just like recover so that I can go back to work and do it all over again. And that was something that kind of it led me back to the doctor's office, which I actually was someone who would go to the doctors. And I found myself there quite often as a child and as a young adolescent because of anything from, like strep throat, needing antibiotics, like physical ailments, like hurting myself, just like I was constantly feeling like I was always at the doctors. I used to say my immune system is non-existent because it was just pathetic how often I would get sick. And so when my physical health started really, going downhill from this job I was doing, and it was really good money. So I felt like this is what I've got to do. I've just got to work so I can pay my bills. And there's nothing else I can do that will, equal this. So it led me to the doctors, and they couldn't really give me answers back then. But what it did get me to start doing was to start looking at my diet and what I was eating. They put me on an elimination diet, which kind of got me nowhere for a couple of months. And then I'm really blessed that the job that I was working at, they actually sent me to this seminar that had a vegan plant-based doctor talking about whole food plant-based and the power of plants and everything, that can not only prevent but reverse. And I'm like, this is what I need. This makes way more sense than what the doctors are having me do. He turned me on to a lot of different documentaries and books. And so I took that information home with me, and I was just like, so excited about it, telling my partner everything I had learned. We instantly, that night and the night after, watched all the documentaries that we could find on Netflix that were on that list. And that's how I made the connection to the environmental side and the animal side. And so it was at that point, I'm like, okay, I already know I love animals. I've tried to do this before, and this is even, taking it to the next level and learning about, the devastation that animal agriculture has on our environment and what it had done to me and my own personal health, I was like, overnight, we made the switch. We got rid of everything in our kitchen that was not plant-based, not vegan. And we went out and we did a huge grocery haul. And just as, like you were saying, we never looked back. But I definitely had some ups and some downs with my health along the way, because vegan isn't, an ethical standpoint, it doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy. And so I would go, from being whole food plant-based, and then I would be like, well, it's vegan, it's not hurting the animals, I'm going to eat it anyways. And at the time of the pandemic starting, we were living up in Portland. And so for a while, leading up to that, we had been really indulging in the vegan food scene and trying all the different vegan goodies that, Portland has to offer. And then the huge stress of the pandemic, the quarantine, social distancing, that right there was just so much for me. I lost my job, lost access to the gym. Our community kind of just stopped, doing activism events. So I didn't have any sort of like social circle anymore. And that is when my health got even worse than before I went vegan. And I found myself again going to the doctors, which at that point was something I did very rarely, because I've learned how much they really don't know about, if your bone's not sticking out of your arm, pretty much, I don't go to the doctor. But I found myself kind of unable to motivate myself to do anything. I was just like laying around the house, very depressed, very anxious. My anxiety had kind of taken over. Like PTSD things were coming up for me. And my physical health, because of not having the gym, not wanting to get out of bed, I started putting, weight back on. And I was just in a really rough spot. And then I went to the doctor, and I was personally diagnosed with celiacs and Hashimoto's, which are two autoimmune diseases. And that is when I really had to take a good look at what I was eating, remember what I had learned about, the power of plants, whole food, plant-based, and started juicing every day, doing all organic, the best of my ability. I was getting all the different supplements that I believed I needed at the time from very, sustainable, ethical, cruelty-free sources. It was very pricey, all of the produce, all of the supplements. It was really in a time when I wasn't personally working. I had to rely on my partner 100% for finances. And so I could see the stress that was putting on him, but also like that made me feel very like overwhelmed, because like I've never been in that position before. I've always been able to, do what I needed for myself and pay my own way. And that just added to the stress, which was the one thing the doctor said with these autoimmune things to avoid. And I was just kind of spiraling downwards, not getting anywhere with, the improvements in my diet. And that is actually when I found Ingrid, who was, I believe, almost a year into this lifestyle and was in Belize already and thriving. And I could see, just as she was speaking about Alice, I could see that in her at this point. And it was like, what are you doing? And we built a genuine, authentic friendship. And she just started asking me about how I was doing and what do I do for work. And I was very honest, I didn't have a job at the time and I was not doing well at all. And so she shared with me what was working for her. And I said yes instantly. I knew I had to do something, because I was trying all the things that I knew how with my resources, with my education and what I knew. And so why not? What do I have to lose? And so I jumped in and did this superfood lifestyle, starting with how most people get started, a 30-day ultimate lifestyle transformation that focuses on gut health, which is something that was brand new to me somehow. No one, not even the doctors, had explained to me the importance of gut health. And even through all of my research of all the different chemicals and, plastics and things that are out there that you want to avoid, I've never heard the word glyphosate. And that was just mind-blowing to me when I learned what that is and how unavoidable it is, what it does to our health. And I just started connecting all the dots of the symptoms, of glyphosate toxicity. And I was like, oh, autoimmune diseases, fatigue, mental health issues like anxiety, depression, like all these things. I was like, this is what's doing it to me. Like, there can't be anything else. I've done everything else I can. I've eliminated all of the other toxins. I've gone completely whole food, plant-based and organic. And so I'm like, this has to be it. And sure enough, within like a week of incorporating this into my life, I finally started seeing results. And ever since then, it's been for me about a year now. And I have been getting better and better and better. I got to the point, like I said, I was diagnosed with celiac. I can now eat gluten, but it has to be organic and glyphosate free. So there's just so many things that have completely shifted for me, my mental health. I don't have any of the different symptoms from either of my diagnosis. I don't resonate with them anymore at all. Like, I don't identify as that anymore. And it has been such a blessing in my life. It's so simple and it's delicious and it's convenient. It's, affordable. It's all the things that make it easy to stick to long term. And I definitely like have really benefited from the community that came along with it. For me, a huge thing with being vegan and staying vegan long term is to have a community of support. And like I said, when I lost that sense of community up in Portland, I didn't have really anyone. I was just at home with my dog at the time. And, my partner was having to go to work and support us as a family. And so to have that door open into this incredible community of like-minded, beautiful people that are, passionate about the same things. They care about the animals, the environment, and their health, and they were thriving. And it just it was that last missing piece along with the nutrition that for me, it worked. Like, this is what I found. I found my home, I found my family. And it's so important to have that support, because I didn't really have anyone besides my partner when I first went vegan. And like, you really need, I think, people in your life that are there for you and can help you when you're, struggling. And so that is my story. And that is why I'm going to be doing this in my lifestyle for life. And I would love to have anyone, that's struggling in any way join us and meet the community. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And one person that it's connected me to is our good friend Kevin, who she was speaking of, living within Belize. He is such an incredible, activist, just human being. I've actually met Kevin in person too recently while I was traveling, doing van life in California. And it's just incredible to connect with these people and to make lifelong family friends. They're friends, but they're family. And so I'm going to pass it over to Kevin and let him share his story.
Yeah, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it. And I resonate with so much of what you guys are saying. And thank you so much for inviting me to be able to share on this as well. I'm definitely very, very grateful. And yeah, what I tell people as far as my story is, I used to be kind of like a typical average American. I used to believe everything that I saw on TV. I used to think we needed meat for protein. I used to think we needed milk for calcium and strong bones. I used to think we needed eggs for breakfast and bacon. I used to believe all these sort of things. I used to work in the restaurant industry, feed people this sort of stuff. I'm like, this is normal. Everybody does that. I used to make fun of, my uncle's been vegan for 50 years. I used to make fun of him, and my cousin was born vegetarian. I used to make fun of him as a vegetarian, be like, why don't you just eat some meat? It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until like I started shifting my mind at 25, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And the way that I knew is because I would wake up every single night with excruciating pain in my spine, as if I was like getting like hit by a car, and nothing would help fix it. I would have, and except for just moving around for a few hours. I needed to move around for a few hours in order for it to start to feel better. No painkillers, no nothing was helping to make it feel better. And so I went into the hospital and they said, yeah, you're diagnosed with this autoimmune disease. It's called ankylosing spondylitis, which is this crazy complex word to basically say that my immune system was impacting my spine. And it was causing a very, very high inflammation. And if untreated, it would lead to my spine starting to fuse together, where I wouldn't be able to bend effectively. And so the only solution was a medication, or the only option they had was a medication that was $4,000 a month. And I could not afford that. So I basically suffered for the next 4 years with that. It got worse over that time, and I didn't really change anything. I didn't really know what to do. I didn't really, even though it was like, it sucked, it was kind of like, how when someone gets something, they just kind of accept it. Yeah, that's what I got. I got the diabetes, or I got the cancer, or I got the, whatever it is, ADHD, whatever label you've been given, you just accept it. So I was kind of like in that boat. But what really changed and helped kind of open my mind in a big way, there was like the second biggest thing that happened to me was at 29. It's interesting that Ingrid was saying that she's so naive for the things that she didn't know. But I wish I learned all the things that you knew at 15. You know what I mean? Like to some people, you're way ahead of the curve, you know? And so for me at 29 was kind of like when I actually started to make some changes. My dad committed suicide. And he was like the main kind of person in my family, you know, like the closest like family member. And after that, I decided that I wanted to make some changes. I was like, you know what I'm doing right now is maybe leading me towards that path, right? Or I saw some other family members that were getting, you know, sick, and they'd get a disease, and then they get another one and another one, and it just snowballed. And I was like, or I'm going that route. Either way, like, I don't know. I just don't feel like these routes are going the right direction. Something's got to change, right? So I had this mindset that I'm going to change. I said, you know, I'm going to get my health better. I'm going to get my finances better. I'm just going to fix things, right? In general, I didn't know exactly what I would do, but things need to change, right? So I go back to the hospital because that's the only thing that I really knew was to fix my back as part of the things I needed to fix. And they end up covering the medication. So I start taking this medication. Most autoimmune diseases, they give you like a medication where it suppresses your immune system. Is kind of what they usually do. So that's what I had, is a medication that suppressed my immune system. And there's hundreds of side effects. That's not one of them. A weakened immune system isn't one of the side effects. It's actually the purpose, right? And so with a weaker immune system, what led me to do is I contracted the flu from someone. And I got the flu so bad. It was the worst flu of my entire life. I was so sick for 3 weeks straight. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't even talk. Like, my voice was so gone. I couldn't even tell people I'm hurting or I'm in pain or I'm sick. It was so gone. I couldn't even, nothing would come out. And I even thought, I was like, is this going to be it? Like, is this going to take me out? And I didn't want to go to the hospital either, because I was like, they kind of, in a way, I felt like they caused some of this, you know, because I know the medication had an impact on this, right? And they had no other option. They didn't say, they were like, they already told me the one option, and this is what it was, and this is what happened. So like, why go back, right? So I had to figure out how to fix it. While I was really sick in bed, someone recommended me to watch the documentary called What the Hell. And while I was sick in bed, I told myself I'll do anything to get better. I was like, oh, it doesn't matter, because I also hated being sick more than anything in life. Like, no matter, anytime I was sick, I was like, this needs to end as soon as possible. This is horrible. This is terrible. I hate this pain. Right. And so when I watched that and having that mindset that I wanted to change, what I learned in that documentary was the relationship between, the first time in my life at 29 that I learned the relationship between diet and disease. Before that, I had no idea. So Ingrid, maybe you learned that at 10, right? Maybe you learned that at 15. Whenever you learned that, like, I didn't even learn that. You know, if I learned it, I ignored it. I totally ignored it, right? So once I learned that, right, and they talked about how autoimmune diseases can be fixed with diet, I was interested. I was like, let me try this. Let me try this plant-based thing, right? So I said, I'm gonna try it, and I did the same kind of thing, like got rid of everything, you know, just made sure I had only plant-based foods. But also, I was so fascinated too that I wanted to learn more, because it was like one of those things that was like, whoa, not only do I want to try this, but also like, this is crazy that I never knew this, and I want to learn more. So I learned some of the documentaries that you were talking about, Sam, as well. I watched some of those, like Cowspiracy, to learn about the environment. And then I watched Earthlings, which shares what happens inside the animal agriculture farms. So most of the time people look at, like, okay, I know there's cows in the field. I know that. I know there's some steak in the store, but what happens all the stuff in between? Most people don't know that, and it's hidden and it's censored. It's actually illegal to film it in the US, right? So I watched that to understand what was actually happening. And in that moment, I decided I'm going to go vegan, because what I learned really quickly is, one, it's unnecessary to eat animals. We don't have to. We could totally be fine if we don't, right? And it's incredibly cruel. One of the most cruelest things I've ever, like, really the most cruel thing I've ever seen in my life is the inside of a slaughterhouse. I've never seen anything worse than that in my entire life. So those two things, unnecessary and cruel. I'm a kind, caring person. I always feel like I want to help others. I could never bring myself to do something that's unnecessary and cruel. I do things that are unnecessary all the time, right? We all do, right? But we don't do things that are unnecessary and cruel all the time. Otherwise, we'll be labeled, I don't know, psychopath or something. right? So within a week, I got better from my flu. I wasn't sick anymore. It's been 5 years. I haven't been sick once, not even one. I lost about 50 pounds. My skin started clearing up. I started to become a believer. I was like, whoa, not only do I have hundreds or thousands of people that are saying the same thing, and I'm seeing it, and there's, these documentary makers and these filmmakers and these studies, and they study these places in the world called the blue zones where people live over 100 years old and they're eating predominantly plant-based foods. All this information was just adding up and adding up. And I have a personal experience of something that actually was totally transformative. Within 6 months, I decided I want to help people. I said, I got to figure out how to help people with this because this is really helping me. So I started doing my Instagram and posting on social media. I started my podcast, the Empathy Podcast. I started my YouTube channel. I started just sharing. I was like, I got to create things and share things and just educate people so that they could feel as good as I can. And when they make that decision, they can make such a big impact on what they're doing in their own lives and on the planet. Right. So when you make that decision, like you're sparing, about 300 animals per year, you're about a square foot of rainforest, per day, 300 gallons of water per day, something like that, right? All these different things that you're contributing to. So it starts to make you feel better and you want to share that. And you're like, this is actually like a purpose. Like before I was just going through the motions of life, you know what I mean? Just doing what I got to do to survive. I got to work, like what you're saying, go to work, get home tired, do nothing, right? But I was like, now I have a purpose. And after work, what I wanted to do was create content, create videos, share, educate. That's what I wanted to do. And I was like, I finally actually have, purpose in life, right? But it wasn't until I interviewed someone on my podcast that had reversed their autoimmune disease. It was the first person I met in my life that had reversed an autoimmune disease. And that was one of my first inspirations and my first reason for even starting to look into plant-based eating. And I hadn't fixed it. Veganism helped all of those things that I said, but it did not reverse my autoimmune disease. It was not enough. And like you said, it doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy. You could be a vegan and eating soda every single day, Oreos every day, French fries every day. And we all know, and candy, like we all know that's not healthy. So it's not the same thing. It's an ethical stance, to stop harming animals, but healthy is a totally different thing, right? So that's what I had to figure out, right? I had to figure out that piece, right? And so in the interview, she talked about how she used some superfoods in order for her to reverse her autoimmune disease. She also talked about raw fruit. A lot of raw fruit was a big factor. Organic was a big factor. And then, like some of the superfoods like spirulina and reishi mushrooms and chaga mushrooms and, a few different things, cacao, stuff like that. And I decided to try it. So I'm going to do this. And I believed in it. And also one of the things I did on the side is I studied nutrition as well and got certified as a nutritionist in order to understand like the proper nutrition to make sure that I was doing it right. Because there was so many questions. People were like, what? Like, it was so weird. It's like I was eating, I remember I ate El Pollo Loco, which is like a chicken place, right? Like a Mexican chicken place, like every single day of the week, like weeks straight, every single day, you know what I mean? And like other fast food places every single day. No one questioned, what am I eating? No one questioned, are you getting enough iron? Are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough calcium? None of these things. But the minute you're like, hey, yeah, I don't eat, animals or whatever, then it's like, oh, what about your protein? Or what about your iron? So I actually was like kind of tired of those questions. I had to go figure it out. So I went and did like my own research and got certified. But even though I believed in all that stuff and I knew that it was the power of healing foods and I knew the power of plants, I did all of the things she recommended. Juicing, I was juicing celery. I read the book Medical Medium. I was doing all these sort of things. But what happened is I actually gave up within a week. And the reason why I gave up is it was way too much time. Juicing every single day. I was working like 70 hours a week at my job. I did not have enough time. The cleanup was too much. All the trips to the store, all the washing, all the cutting, all the slicing, all the preparation, and the taste, it just wasn't that good. It just didn't taste very good, and it was not convenient, and it was so messy. So that's actually why I gave up. It had nothing to do with believing that it could work, right? Actually, if someone would have just done it for me, I maybe would have done it, just dealt with bad taste, right? But I actually found out the superfoods that we've been taking, we've been sharing, we're going to share here in a minute. And the one thing that I found was the biggest difference between those is one, it focused on gut health as the priority. So it has the ability we're going to talk about to make sure that you prioritize your gut health. And it had regenerative soil, which was very, very important to me because that means that the soil is actually nutrient dense and rich. So now if you have your gut health, which is your absorption, and you get that right, so all the food that you're eating is getting absorbed effectively, and you have something that's super rich in nutrients, now you're deeply nourishing your body. And it was the first time in my life that I was actually really deeply nourished, and it tasted delicious, and it was simple and easy and convenient. All I had to do was add water and shake it up and go. So it just checked off every single box, and plastic free, right? And good for the environment, and they prioritized healing people. It just checked off every single box. And it was the first thing in my life that I was able to eat consistently that was healthy. You know what I mean? I know what was the importance of health, but it was so hard to find the consistency. So it was the first thing. It's been like 2.5 years now, and I have no symptoms of my autoimmune disease. And that was I was actually the first thing I wrote down when I first started was said, I want to heal my autoimmune disease in my back. That was the first goal, you know? And so when I was able to accomplish that, I said I have to share this to other people, and so that's been the priority now, and just helping my family. I've been like impacted so much of my family already by reversing some of the challenges they've had, and the people that I've been able to impact and touch. And so now I feel like this is such an easier way for most people to transition. And there's just a couple things that I really want to say on the topic of tonight, which is how to thrive and be healthy as a vegan. You know what I mean? So one thing I would say is to stay open-minded as you go along your journey. Because what I notice a lot of times happens is someone becomes vegan and like, I did it, I made it, I got to the top, I did the hardest thing I could possibly do in life, I'm vegan now. But flip that upside down and just say, no, this is actually the moral baseline. This is the baseline of where everyone should be. And now it's just about continuously improving. This is my foundation. How can I build on top of that foundation? And like, once you go vegan, you start reading labels. So while you're reading those labels, you're going to be looking for things that you don't want to put in your body anymore because of the ethical reasons or the harm or the environment or the health aspects, right? But on top of that, you're going to see all these other things that you maybe never even saw before, all these other chemicals that might be in your food, all these other things that you shouldn't be putting in your body. They're going to harm you in other ways. Stay open-minded to those things, learn about those things, research those things, and be comfortable and patient with yourself as you continue to grow and continue to learn. Because I see that all the time. Sometimes we're like, someone will be like, oh my gosh, now I can't have oatmeal. Oh my gosh, now I can't have these apples. Oh my gosh, now I can't have this type of carrot, whatever. I'm just giving some examples. And they're just like, I just give up. I just don't even care. I'm just going to do what's easiest and what's simple and just go back to my conveniences, and they give up. But that's not the mindset you should have. It's totally okay to be like, I'm just getting better every single day, 1% better every single day. So having that kind of mindset, to keeping learning and keeping growing, I think is gonna really, really help you as you go into your journey. And just know that it is 100% possible to thrive, and look for the people that have been doing it and that are thriving, because so many people are looking to role models that aren't good role models. Look into a celebrity, that just maybe was doing it just for the fun of it, and then they just give up the next week or whatever. Like, that's not someone that's thriving. You want someone that's a good example that you can look up to. It's the same thing as picking your mentors. You pick a mentor that has what you want, and how are you going to get there? And you follow in their footsteps. The same thing. Pick an awesome vegan, that's is super healthy and thriving, and just follow their footsteps. What are they doing? How do I get there? So that's the advice that I would give.
Amazing. Yeah, that's amazing advice. Both of you guys have such powerful stories. I'm so grateful every time I get to listen to them. One thing I just wanted to touch on, kind of to follow up Kevin's tips. When when I first went vegan and even vegetarian, it was it wasn't really being talked about. And grew up in Wisconsin and everything too. So I didn't really have anybody to look up to. And there weren't a lot of options. So a lot of it was kind of just like Whole Foods and, healthier options here, because there aren't any vegan restaurants here. Even still, there weren't any vegan options at the grocery store, anything. Now they are. And, veganism is becoming a really big movement, and more people are going vegan every day. And so companies are catching on to this as well. So a lot of these bigger companies that have these foods that aren't necessarily healthy for you, but are vegan, are being pushed, and they're everywhere. You can find anything that's not vegan or that may not have been vegan now in the grocery stores. And so, I think that's a really big reason why it's so important to really begin talking about and really shouting about how important it is to, live a healthy vegan lifestyle. And yeah, there's so many different things of misinformation that you can hear out there. But yeah, it's really important to, like Kevin said, even be following a role model that is healthy and, is living a healthy vegan lifestyle, because you can do veganism wrong. It's so easy to do it wrong. If you're just eating like fake chicken or fake meat substitutes, fake cheese substitutes, all of that, that's not going to lead you to a healthy lifestyle. But with that, I would absolutely love to start to share about what has kind of helped us to, make sure we're covering all of our bases, living this optimum lifestyle, and truly living a very, very healthy vegan lifestyle. So with that, we've got some products here from the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, which is all what we came into this lifestyle with, which I'm really excited about to talk about these. I'm going to start with a couple first ones. So the Super Aminos is one of the first products that comes with your Ultimate Lifestyle 30-day transformation. So it builds lean muscles. It helps to burn fat. It's amazing for mental acuity. That was something that I noticed really big in my first Ultimate Lifestyle transformation. I think it was like day 3. I felt like this brain fog clear, and like I almost felt like a new person. Like, it was amazing. I didn't even know I had brain fog, but this has really helped me. And so it helps to tighten skin as well. So if you're a mother or anything, or if you've lost a lot of weight, this is going to help to, tighten up your skin. It's pretty amazing. I've seen some amazing transformation photos that this has really helped. And the name Super Amino 23, it absorbs 23 minutes into your bloodstream. It's bioavailable, it's pre-digested. So yeah, you're able to absorb it very quickly. And we'll go to the next one. Oh, and it's loading. Okay, so the Power Shake. This is one of my favorites. These are all my daily non-negotiables, but the Power Shake is one of my favorites. I start my day every morning with Power Shake. And so it's the equivalent of 6 microgreen salads worth of nutrients. So even if you're vegan, even if you're raw vegan, I don't think you're going to be consuming 6 microgreen salads in a day. I don't think I could do that personally. I love salads, but that's a lot. So even just having one of them, either 2 or 2 of them in the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation a day, it's really amazing to be getting, just flooding your body with that many nutrients. And it's also 98% living enzymes. So you want to drink it within 15 to 20 minutes, because as soon as you add water into this Power Shake, all of the living enzymes are coming back to life because of their amazing dehydration process, which is just really cool. And it's super alkalizing as well. So a lot of disease actually begins with, acidity and inflammation. So it's really important to begin to alkalize your body to, reduce that inflammation. And it also improves your energy levels. That was another huge thing that I noticed with my first transformation. My energy was like through the roof. When I first started, I was kind of bedridden for a little while there because of how bad my depression and anxiety was. But after I started incorporating this into my life, I was jumping out of bed. I'd go for a couple mile-long walks, runs. I was never been a runner, but I just had to figure out a way to burn this energy off from how much energy I had. It was amazing. And yeah, it also, it's cellular nutrition. So it's giving you nutrition at a cellular level. It's amazing. And then Apothecary, was I going to pass that to you guys, or was that me as well? Okay, so Apothecary is another amazing one. I drink this every evening as well. It creates natural melatonin. So it's not a melatonin supplement that was created in a lab or anything that your body's not going to recognize. It's from a natural source. So you're going to be able to absorb it all. And it helps you to reach REM sleep, which is the deep restful sleep when you're doing all of your healing. You do a ton of healing at night, which is really important. It's super high in antioxidants. It creates a healthy response to inflammation as well. So this is also going to help bring down inflammation. Which is really bad for disease. Inflammation is it's a horrible thing, and helps to beautify skin as well. My skin was glowing after I did my first cleanse, and helps to combat free radical damage as well. It's truly an amazing project. All right, and with that, I'm going to pass it over to Sam to talk about a couple of Kevin to talk about a couple of other products. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. This one I absolutely love is the Biomedic. I personally think every single person in the planet needs to be on this. And what this really comes from is was created really with the intention of helping with the glyphosate issue that Sam had mentioned a little bit earlier. But essentially, glyphosate is sprayed on genetically modified crops. They modify them so that they're resistant to the active ingredient called in Roundup called glyphosate. So it basically kills everything else besides that plant that it touches, including the soil, the microbes, gets in the water, animals drink it, it causes them cancer, and it also gets into the waterways and the oceans, our water, our drinking water, and it gets into the rainwater. So it's kind of this crazy toxin that gets everywhere. And sometimes people think, hey, it's not getting on my food. I don't eat the genetically modified food, or I eat organic food. But what's happening is they're spraying it on the non-GMO foods as well, as a drying agent, just to kill the plant faster. And so that's something that, a lot of people are getting this, and this is directly linked to cancer. A lot of people are suffering from autism, from this, autoimmune diseases, and it's just a nasty one that really blocks a lot of our absorption of nutrients as well. So, I mean, just any disease that's linked to lack of nutrients can be attributed to this. So essentially what it does for you is this helps repair your gut microbiome. It has a fulvic and humic acid that binds to the glyphosate and the other pesticides and removes it from your gut microbiome, as well as replacing the lost minerals inside with the pre and probiotic that it has. That's going to be repairing the damaged gut microbiome as far as the bacteria inside. You have the good bacteria and the bad bacteria, so it balances them out. You're supposed to have a balance of both, but glyphosate is also labeled as an antibiotic, and we know an antibiotic kills bacteria. We know that it kills the bacteria in the soil, which is also part of the reason why the soil is so depleted and why these type of foods are so important, because of the quality of the soil. So this one also helps to impact on improving all of the absorption that you're going to be getting from the power shake. So those 6 microgreen salads that you're getting, imagine if you didn't have proper absorption in your gut, you wouldn't even be absorbing all of that. So these go hand in hand and work together. The next one is the Super Cleansar, and this one you're only going to need to take for 10 days of the program, the middle part of the 10 days out of the 30 days. And I recommend this as something about 3 to 4 times a year for anyone that's taking this. And I traveled around the world in a few different countries, and in other countries in the East, they know about this. They know about the importance of eating certain herbs and spices to make sure that they are killing the parasites that get in their body. In America, we talk about it for our dogs and other animals like our cats. We never address ourselves. And the reality is parasites can live into your body for up to 10 years. And one thing that happens is that even if you had, let's say you ate sushi, most people know sushi might have some parasites in it. If you had eaten that within 10 years from now, it still might be in your body. So it's great to make sure, and if you're around animals as well. So it's great to make sure that you're doing this 3 times a year. It's very, very gentle. And it has a few different bark and different herbs like a wormwood and clove in order to help remove it gently and naturally from your body versus something like any kind of pharmaceutical that might be more harsh on your organs and also might not kill it. So what this does is it also helps to improve your digestion and your mood. And once you get those parasites out, it also impacts your cravings. A lot of times people are like, I just can't give up my sugar. I just can't give up my soda, or I can't give in the junk food. Once you try this and you finish this, you might be realize, hey, it's a lot easier than I thought. And you aren't the one that's craving it. It's the parasites that are in you that are craving it. And once they're out, then the cravings stop. All right, so the next thing is we have a schedule. So what's great about this is a lot of people kind of were like, oh my gosh, it's too many things. I need to keep order of it. And it's really, really great. You have the schedule that comes with it, and it's really, really easy. There's 3 different ones that you can do, that you can follow. And what's great about this is it really simplifies it, especially for people that need a little bit of structure and a little bit order. And once you get it down, it's really consistent and you maintain it. And honestly, the one thing that I want to say about 30 days in general, anytime you do a 30-day challenge, anytime you do a 30-day anything, the whole purpose of doing a 30-day challenge of whatever it is to build a new habit. So let's say you're going to say, I'm going to do 30 days of reading every single day, and you do those 30 days, and then you stop. Well, you actually really didn't do it, because the whole purpose of it is to build a new habit, because it takes about 21 days, 30 days to build a new habit. So the new habit that you're building is, how do I maintain my health consistently and at least get 1 to 2 things that are amazing for me on a consistent basis, and while simultaneously protecting myself from all the other toxins within the food system, and making sure I get all my vitamins and minerals. And this is it. Like, this is really the answer. And so this helps. And so it's really convenient. And this would come with you. And so that's all I would say for the schedule.
That's awesome. Yeah, I am so grateful that it came with some structure, because for me, I'm definitely, like very like a list and kind of organization kind of person. It's nice to just have it so you can check it off every day. I literally put the schedule that I was following on my fridge, so that every time I'd go in the kitchen, I could just see like what I needed to do and when. I set alarms on my phone. It makes it super duper easy. And what I love is that there's more than one kit that you can get. So you can see over here, the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. That is all of the food that they went over. You also get the stainless steel shaker cup, which Ingrid had, and that is to put your shake in. You just add the water and you've got your 6 salads right there in one meal, easy to do, and it keeps it really cold. Or you can do hot beverages in, and they're going completely plastic free. So that's why they no longer have like the plastic shaker bottles. You can see all of these packages besides the super amino. That is the last one to check off our list this year. They're all home compostable packaging. The apothecary is in glass bottles. That was a big thing for me, because after going vegan, something that I was open, my eyes were open to is the sustainability, the pollution, the plastic going into the ocean and hurting the animals. And so that was huge for me. And I'm just so grateful to be having these foods come in completely home compostable packaging. And then we have the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation Plus Immune, which I kind of recommend everyone do this one if they're going to, like it gives you the zinc aid. So that is kind of, you can see it in the name, it's zinc, C-A-D-N-E. It gives you all food-based vitamins and minerals, and it's pretty much, with that kit you've got practically everything you need to really stay healthy. And those are kind of like the baseline of non-negotiables in my opinion. But for me personally, I do the one on the bottom, the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation Plus Performance. That gives you, if you're someone who is active, I know there's a lot of busy moms who are constantly moving around, chasing their little ones, or athletes, or just someone who is on the go all the time and wants to also be able to work out and just have that high amount of energy through all of it. This gives you everything you need for like your your post workout. It gives you extra aminos, which that's one of my favorites. I love being able to take extra aminos every day. And then there's a super xanthan, which is really great for so many things like muscle recovery, an internal sunscreen. So literally from your head to your toes, you are covered. And it has great foods for your skin health and for your eye health. So there's so many benefits. And then you also get to try 2 of my favorite products that come in what we call the juice bar in a bag, the Aloe Digest and the Cocoa Hydrate. I absolutely love those foods. They are so delicious. It's just so good to have that with the beets, which is the, the pre-workout, to be able to kind of mix and match and make your own concoctions so that you will literally never get bored with these superfoods. There are so many endless possibilities. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we have to offer through Purium. And there's like, I think close to 70 foods that we have. So there's literally something for everyone. We can really, get with you and customize a protocol that is fitting for you personally. And that's something that I also love about it. And so I am just beyond grateful for everyone that has come here today. I am so grateful for Ingrid and Kevin for joining in on this call. I'm so glad that we're doing these Wellness Wednesdays, because it's just, you know, not very many people know about proper nutrition. Even me, who I thought I knew what I was doing, like Kevin had, you know, his nutrition certificate. These are just things that sometimes they slip through the cracks, like gut health, glyphosate, the little small details that really make the biggest difference, in my opinion, is so important. And to be able to thrive as a vegan long term, I think that this has been, for me, what I have found that's worked best and has made me feel my best, and it's connected me to the very best people. So it is just, it checks all of the boxes. And I just want to, you know, recommend, if you are interested, if any of this is resonating with you, to please get back to whoever invited you or sent you this recording. They really truly do care about you and your health, and they want you to feel your best, because this is what we found for ourselves to work. And they have the ability to share with you a discount code to save you over $100 on all of these ultimate lifestyle transformation packages. And that's kind of, you know, what got us started. And it's been, for me, the biggest blessing in my life. And so is there anything, Ingrid or Kevin, that you wanted to end on? Good.
You know, I would just love to say, sorry, I would just love to say that, you know, I think it's more important, more so now than ever, especially if you're very passionate about veganism and the vegan movement and, you know, what it's all about, to be living and leading a healthy lifestyle and to be promoting health and wellness, because, you know, of course, it is about the animals, about the environment, and, you know, health ties into that. And especially even, I mean, the plastic-free movement as well. It's all intertwined. And yeah, I just think it's really important to, when you're leading a vegan lifestyle, to be leading a healthy, well-informed wellness lifestyle. So that's all I wanted to say.
I love that.
Yeah, I would just like to add to that just a little bit as well. As like the last thing that I would like to say is that sometimes people look to veganism, right, as like healthy doesn't matter, like I'm just vegan for the animals or something like that, you know what I mean? What I found is that those that have taken care of their health or filled their cup up the most, they have the most to give and the most to give back, you know. And if you're, let's say you're an activist, right, and you're on the streets, but like you want to go on the streets and help, but you're sick because you weren't eating well, you ate too many, you know, who knows, Impossible Burgers or something, right? But either way, whatever the situation is, you don't feel well enough to go out there and do something. Like, I feel like you're not as going to be as productive as you want, you know, but it could be anything in your life that's important to you. What about your relationships with your friends and your family? If you're at your best and your healthiest, you're gonna respond to those situations a lot better and probably have a healthier relationship, or you have a job or something that's important to you, or purpose, or you're driven into something. You know, if you're healthy and thriving, you could do that job even better. You know, you can pursue that passion even better. You know, so for me, I think that it's like, it just makes sense. Like everyone knows like the old adage, your health is your wealth. You know, I just think that we just don't practice it often enough or don't know how to do it. And it's so normalized and celebrated to be unhealthy, you know? Like, I even was going to go to my aunt's for 4th of July, and she's like, I don't even know what to make you. You know what I mean? Because everything's going to be not good for you. And that's a common for any celebration that we have. That's just one example.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of those statements. It is so important to take care of ourselves. You know, you can't pour from an empty cup. That's another thing that I like to say, is you got to fill your cup first. And honestly, this is what has filled my cup the most with the best quality. And I would like to just add on that there is a 60-day money back guarantee. So you've literally got nothing to lose. If you want to try this out, then I really recommend getting back to whoever sent this to you, because there's nothing to lose. If you end up doing it and it doesn't do, you know, what you wanted, it wasn't what you were looking for, then you can 100% get all of your money back. There's no, you know, no harm, no foul. But I honestly think that everyone who tries this will just be so excited for how they're feeling, how they're sleeping, the energy, the mental clarity, everything, digestion, like, you've got everything to gain. So again, thank you both so much. This has been such a beautiful call. I love you both so much. I love everyone, and thank you so much for joining. We appreciate all of you.